Welcome, physical science students. This is Mr. Tolbert's physical science class. This is chapter 12, and this will be the first lesson in chapter 12. Would you believe that someone made a solid material that was about the same density as air? If they put a chunk of this material into your hand, you wouldn't even notice it was there. But they actually did it. This silica aerogel is a foam that is a solidified smoke, so to speak. This aerogel is mostly air and has remarkable thermal and acoustical properties. So we're going to be talking about properties here. 12.1, properties of solids. Different kinds of matter will have different characteristics. Characteristics that you can observe directly are called physical properties. These are the properties that you can observe with your senses. You know, the taste, touch, hear, smell, those type of things. You can observe them and they're quantifiable. These are physical properties. Physical properties include color, texture, density, brittleness, the state, be it solid, liquid, or gas. We can also call that the phase. Here is an example. Iron, an iron nail, is solid at room temperature. That is a physical property of iron. Properties of solids. A physical change is any change in the size, shape, or phase of matter in which the identity of the matter doesn't change. It stays the same. For example, when water is frozen, it changes from a liquid to a solid, but as you already know, it's still water. And then when you boil water, it becomes gas water, but it's still high quality H2O.
States of matter are gas, liquid, and solid. Gases assume the shape and volume of their container. Particles of gas are separated from each other, moving straight lines, and in a completely random manner. They change direction only when they collide with each other or the container. Liquids have a definite volume and assume the shape of their container. The particles of a liquid are closely spaced, and so their motion is still random, but much more limited. The particles slip past and collide with near neighbors. Solids have a definite shape and volume. Particles of solids are in fixed positions and collide only with near neighbors.
So that's just a quick review of phase change.
The states of
Properties of solids. The properties that can be observed when a substance changes into different substances is called chemical properties. Here's where things get interesting. Any change that transforms one substance into a different substance is called a chemical change. For example, I gave you the example of the nail. The nail by itself at room temperature was a solid. That was a physical property. But notice if you leave it out in the rain, it will rust. Rust is actually the result of what we call a chemical change. It's an oxidation reduction reaction. Properties of solids. The density of a solid material depends on two things. You need to know this. The mass of each atom or molecule and how closely these molecules are packed together. You might remember this when we talked about density, where you had the heart, where we love density. Do you remember that? You have the mass over the volume. Depends on two things. Mass and volume. How tightly these things are packed together is called its volume. Density is the mass per unit volume of a substance, as you saw in the previous slide. Density is also a physical property. You can record that as being mass over volume. Density is an intrinsic property of matter. What does that mean? That means this is a characteristic that it's going to have no matter what. It is one of the things that we use to define it as being exactly what it is. So here's just an example where paraffin wax is also mostly carbon, but its density is only, oh my.
It's the same principle that causes some objects, like this rock, to sink in water, and causes
paraffin and carbon atoms are mixed with hydrogen atoms with long molecules that take up more space. The density of paraffin is low. So you have wax and you have paraffin, or you have a diamond. If you compare these things that are mostly composed of carbon, diamonds, they're more closely packed together. It's made of the same stuff, but it's more dense. The atoms or molecules of solid are arranged in two ways. Either the particles are arranged in an orderly repeating pattern, that's known as crystalline, or these particles are random. If it's crystalline, it's like a diamond, so it's in an order, so it'll form a specific shape. Whereas the other one, these particles are arranged randomly. And a random one is more like the wax or the paraffin, where it doesn't make a specific shape or specific form. Metals look like crystals because they're made from tiny crystals fused together. Strength describes the ability of a solid to retain its shape even when a force is applied. Here in this example, if you apply a downward force on this object, and its resistance to break or to move, that is going to be its strength. So that'll be the end of lesson 1. You need to do the background Schoology lesson, the lesson 1 quiz right now. And thank you. I'll see you during lesson number 2.